Okay, so I was working on a project recently, and I came across a really simple way of turning any Character Creator 4 character into a flying character in Unreal. So I thought I'd quickly share the process. Don't know if it's the best way to do it. There's probably a more correct way of doing it, but this seems to work, and it's just pretty cool to have a play around with. So that if anyone wants to give it a go, take one of your custom characters and turn it into a flying character in Unreal. So what we're going to do is so I've got my avatar here. I'm going to put it in a T-pose. The first thing I'm going to do is we're going to export this as an FBX file so we can bring it into the Unreal Engine. So I'm going to go File, Export, FBX, Flow of Character. Settings we want in here are, we want the Unreal presets. We only need the mesh. I'm going to turn off subdivision for now, but you can delete hidden faces if there's any mesh underneath that might poke through, and you can turn these ones on and off whether you need them or not, but like that should be okay. What I will do is use T-pose as bind pose in those settings there, and I'm also going to put embed T-pose for Unity, and I'm going to press export. Okay, so next we're going to go to the Fab Store and we're going to download this dynamic flight pack with blueprints. So you can get the pack here for £37.52, and it's pretty cool. So I've downloaded this one. In the Epic library, we're going to search for that. So okay, so now we're going to create that project. We're going to hit create project. We're going to select version 5.1. So I'm going to change this to flight tutorial and hit create. Okay, that's made it pretty quickly. So then I'm going to go to that folder where that is. I'm going to open up this folder, flight tutorial. Now before I open up this project, what I want to do is I want to use the auto setup plugin from Reallusion. So if you haven't got it, you can go to get the tool for Unreal, and that's going to load up the website where you can get the free download. But I do have that one, so I'm going to go to here, go to browse files, go to the Unreal folder, and I want the latest version. So you can see version 3.7 is the latest version, but I want it in version 5.1. So actually the latest version 5.1 I've got is 3.3, so that should be okay. So I'm going to open up that one, select the content and the plugins folder. I'm going to copy these and I'm going to put these in here. So I'm going to just paste them in. Now when I open this up, it should have the blueprints, that plugin already set up. Okay, so now we've got the Unreal project installed and opened. We can test it out and see how this looks. So you can see the controls here. F hover, fly around, up and down. Some fast flying. So that's pretty cool. So we stop that one. Now what we need to do is import our own character. So I'm going to make a new folder in contents, and I'm going to call that one, I don't know, character. And then I'm going to go to where we downloaded, we exported the FBX file. So it's this one here, and I'm going to drag in that whole folder. So you can see it's got the FBX files and the JSON file in there. We'll bring all that in. I want high quality shader. Now in the import settings, we want animation turned off. We want to make use T0 as reference pose and import morph targets if you plan on adding them later on. You don't really need to at the stage, but I always put them on. And then just press import all. Okay, so when this one comes up, hit cancel. We can close out anything else, and you can take a look at the character. So the auto setup does a good job at bringing it, setting up all the materials for you and the hair and all that type of stuff. So you can go in and tweak all this as well to get better results, but it does a pretty good job straight away. So I'm going to save this project now. So save all. Now what we need to do is put this character onto the we need to swap the mannequin for this one. So what we're going to do is go into content, dynamic flight, animations. Now, like I said before, I don't think this is probably the right way of doing it. There's probably a better way of retargeting the animations and doing other stuff, but this is just a real quick way and it works, and if you want to play around with it, it's worth giving a go. So I'm going to basically select all these animations except for the animation blueprints. So all the green ones, and that there's a couple of light orange ones where they're like blend spaces. So if you right click and replace skeleton and select the one that we've just, so mine's called FBX export skeleton, press OK, and as you see now, if you go through, you can see that that's updated. With the animation blueprints, we're going to assign skeleton, so select that one again. Same with this one, assign skeleton. File, save all. Okay, now what we also need to do is go back to the dynamic flight folder, go to demo assets, characters, mannequin, and animations, because these are what have been used for the walk cycle. So again, we're going to select all of these, and we're going to replace skeleton with the one that we've imported. And then the next step is we need to go into the blueprints, go to characters, open up the character blueprint, the third person character blueprint, and here we need to change the skeletal mesh. So you can either select it there or select it up here, and it's going to show up. We're just going to basically select the one that we want, press compile and save, file, save all. Now if everything's worked correctly, the character should be in place, but the animations aren't working, so let's double check that again. Okay, so if we go back into the character blueprint, third person character blueprint, which is in this path here, it basically took off the animation blueprint, so we need the third person animation blueprint, this one here, I believe. So if I press compile and save, and then that one should work, but it doesn't. Okay, let's try this again. Let's have a look at the blueprints. Let's go to where that blueprint would be. Let's go to animations. So in this blueprint, everything seems to be looking okay in there. Dynamic flight blueprint, compile and save. And then let's just double check that's the right one. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe I selected the wrong one, so just double check that that is the right one. Third person. Maybe I just needed to compile and save it, or do it from here. Either way, that should now work. If I press play, you can see the character is walking around. We've got our character set up, and now if I press F, he's going to fly. And all the controls are working in the same way. So now, the next thing we want to do is we're going to save this. So, save all. Now I want to bring this into the Matrix city map. So if you haven't already downloaded it, let's see where that is. So let's type in city sample. So if you go onto the Fab Store, you can download that for free. And again, this is a case of creating a new project and saving that somewhere. So create project, pick somewhere to save it. That's going to save it in Unreal 5.1, and once that's installed, it's a pretty big file, so it's going to take a while to do. So I've already done that. So once that's installed, what we need to do is migrate the character that we set up in here into that project. So what we're going to do is go to character and dynamic flight. We're going to select those two. Actually, I'm going to select all three of these here. We'll right click and go hit migrate. And I'm just going to make sure it's got everything selected. We basically want everything selected, which is fine. Now what we're going to do is find the folder where we save the city project, which I think I've called it, where are we? Flight city sample. And you want to select the content folder, and then that's going to migrate all these files into that folder. So I'm going to select folder. I'm going to hit yes. You shouldn't get this. It's because I've imported stuff before. I'm just going to press yes to all. Now this is going to copy all the files from this project into that project. Okay, that's done. Now we need to open up that project. And this is, like I said before, really big file, so it might take a while to open up the first time around. But as you can see, it is really cool. So what we're going to do in here is we're going to check and see if everything's imported. So we've got the dynamic flight folder, blueprints, and you can see the characters in there. So that's all imported okay. What I'm going to go to is the small city map, because it's probably a little bit more, it's not as big as the big city map, so it'll run better on the computer. And there's a couple of settings that we need to change so that it doesn't kick into the normal game mode. And again, not the proper way of doing this, but it's just a fun way of getting your character in and flying it around the city. So what I'm going to do in here is, first of all, I'm going to drag in my character. So I'm going to go to that dynamic flight. I'm going to go to blueprints, go to characters, and I'm going to drag that character somewhere in the scene. I might have already done it, so it might not be in here, but I'm going to look for player start. So there might be a player start in here. So actually, if I just add one in to show you what it looks like. Yeah, player start. So there should be a player start in there somewhere. So if you see that, delete it. Then we want to go to project settings. And in our project settings, we want to change the game mode. So we're going to go to maps and modes. And we want to change that. That will probably be on City Sample game mode or one of these. So we want to change this one to Blueprint third person game mode. I think works. So that's going to basically run our character that we've got set up. And now if we press play, it should work with our character. And we should be able to fly them around the city map with cars and people walking around. It may take a second to load up. Like I say, it's a pretty big file, so it can sometimes be a bit slow. Once it's running though, it's pretty good. Maybe I don't need to have him loaded in. Actually, let's try that again. Let's close that. Let's take character out. And we'll just press play. Okay. So we've got walking and we've got flying. So you could probably add a lot more stuff to this. You could probably put some, you could put a jetpack on his back. You could probably set up some keys to have lasers shoot out his eyes and all sorts of stuff. But I just thought it's something cool to play around with. Get whatever character you like and bring it into the level super easy without having to do anything too complex with the blueprints and retargeting and all that type of stuff. And this seems to work with any Character Creator 4 model. So if I try something with a different size, if I close this, let's do save all. Now what we need to do is get a new character. So I was thinking another cool character which is a different size, so I don't know if this is going to work, is this Chimp character. So let's open up this Chimp. And I was thinking let's make it a little bit put a superhero suit, and I think I've got a superhero suit somewhere. There we go. There we go. Jetpack. Let's put some goggles on him. There we go. Let's put some gloves. Oh, actually, let's put some mech arms. There you go. It's a pretty cool looking character. Let's just check the animation. Okay. So again, we're going to put him in the T-pose. We're going to go File, Export, FBX, Clove Character, and I'll just run through this again. Unreal, Mesh Only, Delete Hidden Faces. I'm going to go with T-pose there and T-pose there, and press Export. Yeah, call this one Chimp, and we'll save him as Chimp. Okay, so we've exported this character. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to import it in. I'm going to open back up the original project that we had, and I'm going to import this one into here. So I'm going to go into the characters folder, my folder for Chimp. I'm just going to repeat the process, and hopefully it should work. I have noticed that if you try and use different versions, you get varied results. This seems to work okay with version 5.1, and it also seems to work absolutely fine with version 5.4. Sorry, 5.5. Again, sorry, on this bit, we just want to make sure we've got T0 reference and morph targets, and leave everything else as it is. But yeah, I found that 5.5 and 5.1 worked okay, but the auto plugin import, I don't know if it changes anything with the bones or anything like that, but we'll soon see if this works. It should work. I've tested it before, but you never know with these things. It's so unpredictable. But again, this is just a quick, this isn't a proper way of doing it. It's just a quick hacky way of getting a character from CC4 into here, so you can just play around and fly around in the city map. Also, you can bring this, it doesn't have to be the sample city map. You can, whatever map or project, you can bring other levels into here, other environments, and just drop the blueprint into that level and fly around. Okay, so hit cancel. So same process again. The character's loaded in. We're going to go back to the dynamic flights. We're going to go to animations, select them all except for the animation blueprints. Right click and replace skeleton, but this time we're going to select the Chimp. And then we're going to assign skeleton here. And let's do assign skeleton on that one. On these two, I'm going to open them up and compile and save, because I think that maybe that's why I didn't pick up straight away last time. Here we go. Compile, save. Yeah, so I think it, so these are the other animations that we need to do. So what we need to do here, before I do that, I need to go into demo assets, characters, mannequin, animations, and select all of these. Replace skeleton, chimp, and then now I believe if we go back into that blueprint, we compile and save. It's working absolutely fine. So now the next step is we go to the blueprints folder, characters, and now we just have to swap that mesh. That's still in there and that looks fine. Compile and save. The only thing I probably would do here is resize this capsule because it's now probably too big for that character. A bit wider. And compile and save. Now we press play. We have a flying chimp. Though it does seem to be missing some textures. I don't know if it's still loading them or if they're missing, but we can check that out. We can go into the character folder, go to chimp. We can have a look at what's going on in here. I mean, this seems to be on one and not the other, so we can basically go have a look at what's, yeah, it's where it's duplicated, so we can just copy that one there, paste that one there, paste that one there, and I think it's where it's got duplicated, it's got the same name. It just doesn't like that, so if I press save, and you know, you could alter this and add some actual fire physics, and you can even add a control so that when you press the fly button, that's when it activates and things like that, and that's pretty simple to do as well. So now we've got that set up. Next step is to now do the same thing again and migrate this to the, well, whatever project you want, but we're going to migrate this one to the city map. So we're going to go to these three. Probably don't need the CC shaders, but that's okay. I'm just going to go to migrate and okay. Let's go. So it's already on city sample. We're going to go to content and select folder, and that's going to send across city sample project. I'm going to open this one up. Fingers crossed it should work the same way as the other one did. Don't see any reason why it wouldn't. Okay, we want to go to map, small city level, and then let's have a look back in. We should have dynamic flight, blueprint, character, and that one's in there. So what happens if we press play? Do I need to drop it into the scene? Okay, let me close for a second. And now we can fly. So thanks for watching our tutorial video. Hopefully it was simple enough to follow. Any questions, just leave them in the comments below, and any other tutorials you would like us to create, again, just let us know, and we're always happy to make new stuff.